Hi. So in this walkthrough, we'll be covering how to integrate your Google Sheets data into the TARS chatbot. So all you have to do is you need to have a chatbot, and I've already created a empty Gambit. It has no data, so just ignore this. So let's start. The first thing what we'll be doing for this exercise is making an API call to retrieve all the records from this sheet. Okay. So we have the GID, we have the Gambit. I'm sorry. We are going to name the Gambit as Google Sheets underscore call, which indicates it's a call, and then it's an API, and it's going to be an empty Gambit. So make sure that anytime you call an API, it has to be an empty Gambit. That way, if you have some changes in future, it will be easier to even to replicate the Gambit. So just make sure it's an empty Gambit for any time there's an API call. So anyway, it's a get method. So what is the endpoint here, right? I mean, this is a Google sheet. This is not a API. This is not a CRM. So what is going to be the endpoint? Not this, but just hit on the share button, and you have to make sure that you have this option that anyone with the link. So if you're working in an organization and your organization is using G Suite, it will probably just put you by default with TARS. You know that anyone only with TARS can access the data. We don't want that. We want anyone to be able to see that data. You know, that's how see that data in the case that they need to have this link in order to see the data. And for this, it's going to be your chatbot. So anyone with the link, so anyone on the internet with this link can edit. I usually give editor access, so just hit the copy link. Now, just an FYI, and you need to follow this. You have your standard, regular URL, but then comes this part, the edit or view or comment, question mark, parameters, whatever it is. Remove that. So after this slash, you have to add, you have to hard code few values here. This is consider it as a syntax from our platform. So gviz, okay, slash tq. I'll explain what it is in depth a bit later. So copy the same URL, go back to the API config part, paste it here. Okay, so standard URL ending with the ID slash gviz slash tq. Okay, no headers at all, but in body parameters, you have to pass two parameters, tq and sheet. Okay, so what is sheet? Is the name of the sheet. So in this case, my sheet is class data. So I'm just going to pass that here. You can find the sheet name at the bottom here. So class data and the value. What is TQ? TQ is basically a command for querying. So what is querying? Quite simple. So anytime you need to access the data programmatically, you have to pass certain commands for the external system to process that information for you, right? So that's basically what querying is. It's going to find some results on as per your conditions. Okay. So in my case, I just want to access this particular column, the student name. So what I'm going to say is select A and hit the send button. We're going to process, and as you can see, we have a response. So our response is going to look something like this. But if you observe this closely, you know what, let's continue. I'll point out something which is wrong here that you can just, it's not wrong, it's something that you can have it as a best practice, something which is super important, but I'll cover it a bit later. So we already have the data now. Save it. A new Gambit, and let's populate the data here. Let's not take any input from user. Let's make it the point of this exercise just to display data from Google Sheets. So buttons, okay, and this, I'll copy the name of this Gambit because this is the Gambit which has the information. And what I'm going to do here is input type button and hit the plus icon. You're going to see a set of options. Select data iteration. Here, you have to type these hard-coded string, okay? Because this is the syntax of our platform. Pre, which indicates that you are trying to retrieve the response from an API of belonging to a different Gambit. What Gambit? Dot Gambit name allows you to access the Gambit name and retrieve the response from it. And this is the syntax. Dot table, dot rows. Okay. Now, what is this table and rows? Let me go back to this Gepard explain again. So we have this and this is the response, right? If you can observe, you can see that there's a key here, table, which is indicating the table and its values. Then we have two internal keys, calls, okay, which is ID A, the column we are accessing. However, we are looking for row data, right? We are looking for row, value of row, even though we are accessing the column values, but every value exists in a cell which also belongs to a row, right? As per the index. So here we have rows. So this is what we are trying to access. And under rows, we have a key called C dot V. V is the value here. So let's access it. So pre.google sheets, the gambit name dot table dot rows, C of 0, because it's an array, dot V. When you do this, you'll be able to iterate, the system will iterate all the records for you and display the data. Now, as you can see, it's processing it. There's nothing really to process, but it's going to just, it's not going to ask any question because have we set any output text. Let's just say that the below are the names from the Google sheet. So we have this now. Okay, so let's try it again, preview. And that's it. You're going to access all the names here. But if you can see, we also have acquired the header, the student name, the first row, because it's not going to differentiate between this row and this row because according to us, it's a row. According to us, it's a header row, but the system doesn't know that. All we can do is go back to the query and pass the command offset in the query by 1. By doing that, we will be ignoring this row completely. Okay, so let's try that again. Make sure to save that. Every time you make some changes, make sure to save. So, and that's it. That's about it. And there you have it, right? So this is how you can extract all the values from your Google Sheet and display them here. Let's say that if you want another column, let's say that I want the student name and gender. All right, I'm going to say A, comma B, save, and here I'm also going to say John. Comma is just to for a better display. C of 1 dot V. We are accessing the next value of the column. So preview, and you can see John female, said male, and a female, right? So please understand this. The reason we are saying C of 0, C of 1, a C of 1 is because when you go to this query now, you can see that the key, I'm sorry, I just have to zoom in. The key C has two values, right? C of 0, it's basically an array. Array is like, I won't be going in depth of array, but think of it like it can hold multiple values of same data. Now C of 0 is going to give us this, okay? Dot V is going to give us only the name. And C of 1 is going to give us this block what I highlighted, and dot V is going to pass the mail. Yeah? So that's all. So I hope this has been clear. In the next part, let's do some basic querying and conditioning. Like we'll be able to extract the extracurricular activity. Let's say that I want to know what activity does John do, So I can actually query and find out specific records pertaining to any user or any record or any ID. Cool? All right, that's about it. Thank you.